morning, and thank you so much for speaking with me. As we look at a new EPA administration, is there anything that you're concerned about there or excited for there as far as the fertilizers and things?
Well, I think that there's probably two issues that are really critical to farmers at EPA. One is waters of the U.S., and I think there'll be a push to go back to the previous Trump 1.0 definitions of WOTUS versus where the Biden administration is. It would be great if we could really get Congress to come up with a definition so we don't have it flipping back and forth every time you have a change in administrations. I don't know if that's possible, but... And the other thing that I think farmers have to really watch out for is the issues that are ongoing about the overlap between the Endangered Species Act and FIFRA, the pesticide law. For way too long, EPA hadn't been following through on the actual law that says before you approve a new pesticide or before you re-register one, you have to go, if you believe there might be an Endangered Species Act affected, you have to go ask Fish and Wildlife or National Marine Fisheries for an evaluation. And it's not supposed to take very long, but in general, it's been taking anywhere from 4 to 15 years for those agencies to come up with an answer. So EPA has been saying, well, we can't hold people off that long, we'll adopt it. Well, then the enviros came in and started suing, saying you're not following the law. So now you have things that farmers have heard about, the herbicide strategy, the insecticide strategy, the vulnerable species. And farmers, if they're in the wrong area, they're going to have to do some mitigation practices that will be expensive. So we need to make sure, I think maybe one of the biggest things is make sure that EPA gets the maps right. So if we have a salamander over here, we're not saying to farmers in 15 counties, there's an Endangered Species Act, you got to do mitigation like big buffer strips or contour plowing or whatever. You know, you have to put some money into it. I mean, if you're indeed in this little area in 1/4 of one county, do the mitigation. But let's make sure we got the maps right so we're not capturing more farmers than really have an endangered species on their property.
Yes, definitely. And then what are you hopeful for maybe as a time frame for some of these things to happen?
Oh, some things are going to happen very quickly. I mean, you look at how fast Trump has named whatever we have today, 11 of his top 25 people, it's unprecedented.
Yeah.
And this will be different than 4 years ago because 4 years ago it was a Democratic Senate. I am not saying that the Democrats slow-walked nominations for people who had to be confirmed, but certainly when you have a Republican Senate, they have more skin in the game to want to move these along.
Yeah.
So I think confirmations will happen more quickly than usual, and I think you're also going to have a reconciliation bill early in the year that will probably include the massive tax bill in it, maybe some other things too. But we're going to have to make sure in agriculture that we are ready for that tax bill, and we don't have 53 different tax provisions we're trying to put in there because we can never get it done. So hopefully in agriculture we can kind of come together and coalesce around what are the most important things that we want to make sure happen, whether it's stepped up basis or death taxes or 199A, lots of really important things to farmer profitability.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me this morning.
You bet, always a treat.